So first of all, the angular displacement is the displacement that is scored at certain or some sort of angle. The angular displacement is measured in degrees. Further on, it is also measured in radians. Normally we use degree, but we can also use radian or revolution. Now to find number of radians in one circle. So number of radians in circle, it is equal to circumference divided by radius. Now we know that circumference is equal to 2 pi r divided by r is equal to 2 pi. So 2 pi radian is the number of radians in circle. So we know that number of radians in one circle is 2 radians. Further all, we know that number of degrees in one circle is 360 degree. So in one circle, 2 pi radian is equal to 360 degree. Now to find that 1 radian is equal to how much degree? So by x, by cross multiplication, x multiplied by 2 pi radian is equal to 360 degree multiplied by 1, or x is equal to 360 divided by 2 pi, or 360 divided by 2 into 3.14, or the answer is 57.3 degree C. So this is the angular displacement. This is its unit degree or radian. This is the relation between degree and radian. So 57.13 degree is equal to 1 radian. So always remember these. Further on, the relation between the angular displacement and linear displacement. So this is the linear displacement, this is the angular displacement. If we multiply angular displacement by r, we will get a linear displacement. Now the angular velocity is the rate of change of angular displacement. It is denoted by w, this is by theta, and angular acceleration by alpha. So as we know that in linear case, in linear velocity v is equal to s divided by t, but in angular velocity the equation will be angular velocity is equal to rate of change of angular acceleration. So in angular acceleration the rate of change of velocity, but in case of angular acceleration we will choose it rate of change of angular velocity. Rate of change of angular velocity by delta t is equal to angular acceleration. So angular acceleration is equal to this by delta t. Now the relation between linear and angular velocity is, this is linear, this is angular, just multiply angular by r theta. This is the special case where angle is equal to 90 degree. If angle is not is equal to 90 degree, then we will use v is equal to r omega sine theta. Now the relation between angular and linear acceleration is, linear acceleration is equal to radius multiplied by angular acceleration. So in this way the relation between linear momentum is equal to radius multiplied by angular momentum. This is linear momentum and this is angular momentum. So the points to remember in this whole topic is, it's just simple. So these are the points. I will write it again for you. So remember that v is equal to s divided by t. This is in linear case, and a is equal to v divided by t, and displacement is equal to s. And angular case, this is theta. its unit is meter and its is radian. Now how much will be 1 radian? This is I forget. If this is the theta angle and if this is radius and the distance measure s, if s is equal to r, then theta is equal to 1, because theta is equal to s divided by r. So if s is equal to r, so r divided by r is equal to 1. So if s is equal to r, then that this angular displacement is will be 1 radian. Now angular velocity is rate of change of angular displacement, and the angular acceleration is rate of change of angular velocity. Now the relation between linear and angular. So the relation between linear and angular is r is equal to v is equal to r omega, r s is equal to r theta. We can also write it theta is equal to s divided by r, and the acceleration is linear is equal to r multiplied by alpha. So the result is that if you want to find the relation between linear and angular, this is right, linear is equal to r multiplied by angular. In this case s is equal to r multiplied by theta, r velocity equal to r multiplied by w, or in this case acceleration is equal to r multiplied by alpha. In this case linear momentum is equal to r multiplied by angular momentum, and so on. So this was angular displacement, angular velocity and angular acceleration. Centripetal force. Centripetal force is the force which compels the body to move in circle, to rotate or to move in circle. This is also called center seeking force, remember this for eta. That centripetal force is called center seeking force. It is denoted by Fc. Also remember this. So we know that Fc is equal to F is equal to ma, but in this case Fc is equal to mac, where ac is angular, where ac is centripetal acceleration, as a is equal to v square divided by r. So Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. Putting it here, we will get Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. Here this is the radius of the circle moving outside or towards outside. This is the body of velocity v. So the force that acts on n is equal to Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. The radius is acting towards outside, but the angular acceleration is always towards center. So as a and r are a and r are opposite in direction, so we will put here minus sign. So Fc is equal to mv square divided by I. Where this minus sign get? We know that a is equal to v square divided by r. So is, in this case r is outward side towards outside and a is acceleration towards inside. So is a and v are opposite in direction, so we will put a is equal to v square divided by r. So is a is equal to minus v square divided by r. So Fc is equal to minus v square divided by r. This is the equation of centripetal force. The next equation, the other form of equation we can also write as Fc is equal to minus mv square divided by r as acceleration of this shows the acceleration of centripetal force is in direction of r, or this is the form of, or this is the vector form of f c. The next is, sorry if I am wrong, and the next is we can also write f v multiply and divided by r. So r multiply by r. We can also write that mv square divided by r square into r. So fc is equal to minus mv square divided by r square into multiply by r. This is the vector form of centripetal force. So this is the other form of centripetal force. The third is, this was the first equation of centripetal force. This is the second equation. We can also write that, as we know that V is equal to r omega. So if we expand the vector form as fc is equal to m v square, the v square instead of v square I replace it by r omega. So square r rho and r ki square. So we can write m r square omega square r rho and r square, r cancel with r. So we can also write that centripetal force is equal to m omega square divided by r, in the sign negative sign still stands. So this was the equation of centripetal force, and the centrifugal force is the opposite of centripetal force, that is sometimes denoted by f g, that is equal to minus f c. So minus into minus f c is equal to minus mv square divided by r. So it is equal to minus minus into plus mv square divided by r. So mv square by r is the equation of fg. So it can come in eta that mv square by r is equal to centripetal force, centrifugal force, both are none. So it is centrifugal force, not centripetal force. Once again, fc is denoted by centripetal force by fc, this is by fg. We know that fc is equal to mac, that is equal to m air is equal to minus v square divided by r. So this is equal to minus mv square divided by r. In vector form, multiplying and dividing it by r, so we can get into this form. Or in third form, if we write v is equal to r omega, then we will put m is equal to m r square omega square, or rho r square, r cancel with r. So we can get minus m omega square into this. So these are equation number 1, equation number 2, and this is equation number 3. So this is given equation that choose correct equation for centripetal force. So the option A is mv square by r, minus option B is minus mv square by r square into r rho, option C is minus m omega square r arrow, and option D is all of these. So all of these are correct. Centripetal force is minus fc, so minus and fc is equal to minus mv square by r. So minus minus into plus, so is equal to mv square divided by r. So this is the equation of centrifugal force. The next is bending of the road. So if we see analysis, this is the road coming. So at the corner they bend it at certain angle. So this angle provides the centripetal force of car coming or any bike or motorcycle coming. So this is called the bending of the road. So if something is coming This is an object, car or motorcycle, and this is the angle theta with plane, with the plane. And if we divide the force into its, this is the total force acting on it. So this is the weight acting on downward. If we resolve the F into its Fx and Fy component, this is Fx and this is Fy. So Fx is equal to F cos theta, or this is Fy, or this upward is Fy, where Fy is equal to F sin theta. Now further on, the centrifugal force is due to the Fy, vertical component of the force, where Fc is equal to vertical component is equal to F sin theta, and centripetal force is equal to mv square divided by r. In the F cos theta, it is the another component that is cancelled with the weight of the body. So if an object is coming, force acting downward, so this is the angle. Writing it again, so for bending of rod, this is the angle theta. If this is the object, the weight acting on it downward, so this is the weight, perpendicular force, normal force acting on the object perpendicular to the plane. So this angle is equal to, we will replace it by theta here. So resolving the force into its two components, this one is this and the other is this one. The component near angle is Fx, while the component far from this is called Fy. So here Fx is equal to F cos theta and Fy is equal to F sin theta. Centripetal force is toward insides or towards the center, so Fc is equal to mv square divided by r. So is F sin theta and Fc mv square and r is in same direction, so centripetal force is due to the vertical components are mv square by r is equal to Fy is equal to F sin theta. Now we can see that Fx and W is opposite in direction, so it will cancel the effect of each other, or we can also write that F cos theta is equal to mg. Now to find tangent theta, we know that tangent theta is equal to sin theta divided by cos theta. In this case, by putting sin theta, here we have sin theta, but we have F sin theta, so we will put F sin theta and F cos theta. So we can write it tangent theta is equal to F sin theta and F cos theta, because F cancel with F and we will get sin theta divided by cos theta, that is tangent theta. So F sin theta is equal to mv square by r and F cos theta is equal to mg. So m cancel with m and v square divided by r into g is equal to tangent theta, where m is the mass and v is the velocity of the car or any object moving. So this is tangent theta is equal to v square divided by r g. In this equation, the tangent theta is equal to v square divided by r g shows us for given radius of bend, this is the radius. For given radius of bend, the angle of bending is only correct for one speed. So if r is fixed value and theta is another fixed value. So these two values will be based for specific velocity. So the points to remember is, this one is for according to the centripetal force, where Fc is equal to minus mv square divided by r, this and all of these. The centripetal force is opposite up, and now you have to remember the centrifugal force, that is equal to mv square divided by r, is that is the point number third. The fourth point one is, you have to learn by heart the equation of bending of rod, that is equal to tangent theta, it is equal to v square divided by r g. That what will happen if the radius is half. So if the radius is half, the whole thing is divided by 2, or if we double the speed, so it will increase 4 times. So must remember the angle of tangent theta, and this is for eta. The next thing is that centrifugal force is due to fx component or fy component. So the centripetal force is due to fy component. This is also for eta and md. Now the weight is cancelled by mg, that is fx component. So here the total points are, the total points that you must learn by heart is, centripetal is denoted by fc, point number 1. Another point, we know that A is equal to v square divided by r. So as A and R are opposite directions, so we will put minus sign. The second thing is, third thing is, you must learn all the equation by heart for the first. Remember this equation, mv square divided by r, then multiply it by r and divide by r, we will get the second equation. And the third equation, by simple putting v is equal to r omega. So remember all of these are number 4 point. Now point number 5 is, remember that it is equal to centrifugal force is equal to mv square divided by r. Point number 6 is, for bending of rod, tangent theta is equal to v square divided by r g. Point number 7 is that centrifugal force is due to vertical component of the force. So this was bending of rod or centripetal and centrifugal force. The next is torque and moment of inertia. So from previous studies, we know that torque is equal to r cross f, or torque is equal to rf sin theta, and the direction of torque is perpendicular to the plane that contain r and f. So if this is the r, the force acting in this direction, then this will be the direction of torque. To find this direction, we use right hand rule, which state that put the fingers on one force or one component, that is force, and move towards it the another. So putting a direction of force, moving towards radius, so this the thumb gives us the direction of radius. So the direction of torque is perpendicular that contains r and f. So torque is equal to rf, we know torque is equal to rf sin theta. So the equation becomes torque is equal to rf sin theta. Also we know that f is equal to m a, or torque is equal to rf. So putting f, if these are perpendicular to each other, so sin 90 is equal to 1, so we will put torque is equal to rf. Is f is equal to ma, so we will put f is equal to m a. From previous studies, we know that a is equal to r alpha, so we will put torque is equal to r m, where a is equal to r into alpha. We can also write that r into r is equal to r square, so r square m alpha, and this r m square is replaced by I, and that I is called moment of inertia, which is called moment of inertia or rotational rotational inertia. So what is inertia? Inertia is due to the ability of a body to remain its own state for linear quantities or linear motion, and inertia is due to mass of the body, and for case of angular, inertia is due to rotational inertia or I. This is constant because it is equal to m r square. As the body moves its in direction, its mass as well as the radius remains constant. So the mass multiplied by r square, where both are constant, this they give another value called, we call it I, and this is called moment of inertia or rotational inertia. Its value remains constant during rotatory motion. It plays the same role in angular motion, which mass plays in the linear motion. That's why it is named as rotational inertia. Now remember always this equation, that torque is equal to I into A R. We can also say that the product of moment of inertia, that product of moment of inertia and angular acceleration, that is angular acceleration of a body give us the magnitude of torque. So torque is equal to I multiplied by A. But here the point is to remember it, but for some bodies this I is constant. This is constant, but this constant is constant for a single body, and this for different body it has different values. For example, I would like to remove it or clear it. So that I, the whole equation that I derive is again torque is equal to Rf, where F is equal to Ma, where R is equal to, where A is equal to R alpha, where R into R square Ma, where I is equal to I A. This is the relation between angular acceleration and torque, or we can also write that I is equal to torque divided by A. Next on, if we have a thin cylinder or cylinder like glass, this is cylinder. If we have thin cylinder like this, we can pass water through it. It means this inside this is empty, we call it thin cylinder. So its I value is equal to mr square, where r is its radius. So I is equal to mr square. If we have disk or solid body of radius r, so this is solid disk, mean that it's pulled from inside. So for that I is equal to half mr square. The third is simply disk, that is two radius was inside empty, and the second is R1 and this is R2. So its I value is equal to half into m R1 square plus R2 square. The third one is if we have a solid sphere. For solid sphere, the I is equal to 2 by 5 mr square. The sixth is if we have radius of rod, if we have rod of length L and radius R. So if this is length, so I is equal to 1/12 ml square. Or if we have rectangular plane, this is rectangular plane of side A and B. So for that I is equal to 1/12 m a square into b square. So in this case this is 1 by 2 and this is 1 by 12. This is half ml square. So remember always these fixed values of moment of inertia. So the points was point number 7, that torque is equal to Rf. This is the point number 8. R is equal to Rf is equal to Ma, where Rma is equal to R alpha, where R square alpha, this is equal to torque. This is the equation number 9 to remember, and I is equal to Mr square. This is the equation number 10. The next is the I values for some special objects like if we have ring or thin wall cylinder. Thin wall cylinder, for that I is equal to M R square. The second one is the I value for solid cylinder or full fill cylinder, that is equal to half M R square. The third is the I value for disc. So for disc we have 2 radius and that is equal to half M, or there R is equal to R1 square bar R2 square. A third is solid sphere, for that I is equal to 2 by 5 M R square. Another is if we have rod of length L, so for that I is equal to 1 by 12 ml square. And another is if we have rectangle, for rectangle I is equal to 1 by 12 m into a square plus b square. So this is the point number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and further on I will show you that how this moment of inertia affect the velocity of the body. There is angular momentum and torque. So first of all, this is torque denoted by this, and angular momentum denoted by L. So we know that L is equal to R into P. This is angular momentum, this is radius, and P is the momentum. So we know that P is equal to me. So we can write that P is equal to me. So we will get RMV. The next is we can also write, this is all I am doing is deriving an equation that will contain torque and both angular momentum, and then we will go system in which angular momentum remains constant. So we know that V is equal to R omega. So we will write that M is equal to V, in this V I will replace this V by R omega. So we will get R omega. So M R square omega, where M R square is moment of inertia and this is angular momentum. This is L is equal to I omega. Further on, according to the book says that L is equal to R P. Dividing both sides by T, we will get L by T is equal to R P by T, and P by T is equal to torque. P by T is equal to force, and RF, we know that RF is equal to torque. Simply it means that the rate of change of angular momentum is equal to the total torque on the body. The next way we can derive this equation also like in this way, that we already know that torque is equal to R F. Now we know that F is equal to M A. Now we also know that A is equal to V divided by T. Now we can write that momentum of the product of mass and velocity is called momentum. So we will get rp by t. So torque is equal to, where rp is angular momentum, so L by T is equal to torque, and this is the equation. So this is derivation of torque is equal to delta L by T, and you must remember it. Point to remember for eta. This delta L by T is equal to T, and delta L by delta T is equal to 0 or remains constant for an isolated system. Isolated system is the system in which no external forces acting on that system. For example, a body is rotating in its around its on axis, so is no force x on it, so we can call this as isolated system. And this delta L by T is equal to 0. This means in the absence of any external force, if there is no force acting, a total angular momentum of the system remains constant. Now how this mean? We will example it on somersault or demonstration of the angular momentum by acrobat in circus. For example, we have an acrobat that perform different jobs in circle. One of his main activity is that he can increase or decrease his speed by just his hands or without any machinery. So for example, this is in acrobat, and this is the table in which he is standing, and the table rotate at specific velocity. Now this is his hand, he is in his hand there are some weights, so the radius of the acrobat is this r1. So in first case, if the acrobat has hands in stretch palm, in stretched and stretch form, delta L is delta L by T remains constant, or any change in it is equal to 0. We know that this is first palm. In second case, he folds his hand toward his chest, so this is the second palm. So what happened in second palm? This is second palm where he reduced his changes into R2. So one stretch palm in which radius is more, in this second full palm in which we pull his hand and radius becomes minimum. So what happens to the velocity? So he increase and decrease, and if we pull his hands toward his chest, as its velocity will increase or decrease. So that will show us delta L by T, or law of conservation of momentum. Law of conservation of angular momentum, delta L by T is equal to 0 for an isolated system if no external forces are on that. So on the acrobat there is no external forces on act, so this is we call it isolated system. So for isolated system, delta L by T is equal to 0, where L by T is equal to I omega by T is equal to 0, where we call it that I is equal to mr square by omega by T is equal to 0, as I is equal to mr square omega by T is equal to 0. It means that no change occur in this remains constant, as delta E by T is equal to constant. So mr square omega by T is equal to constant. Now there is no relation between time here, so we will ignore t. Second, as the mass can neither be changed nor cannot be changed, so the m is remain constant. So here are two terms, that is radius and angular velocity. As the product remains constant, so if we decrease it, this will increase, or if we increase r, this will decrease. So whenever the acrobat pull his hand, he decreases its radius. His radius decreases. As radius decreases, angular velocity increases. And if we stretch the string, radius increases and angular velocity will decreases. So whenever he pull his hand towards, he will rotate with high speed. Now the same trick is performed by somersault. While doing the springboard, while revving the springboard, somersault jump in this way. So basically in the start, he has stretched his legs and hands, but in the at the top he fooled himself into the small, such that his radius becomes small. So in the start of somersault, when doing his trick, he has greater radius, and at the top he gets small radius. The trick is same. So at the top he decrease its radius. So he is radius decrease, angular velocity increase. So with high speed he can do more of the somersault. So this was the law of conservation of angular momentum, that delta L by T is equal to constant. So this was as delta L by T is equal to constant, so we can write that m r square omega by T is equal to constant. R, T and m can't be changed, so the relation is between omega and r. So if we decrease the r, the omega will be increased. So this is performed by acrobats and somersaults, or in Olympics they all play the same tricks. So now is rolling of disc, hoop, sphere, which are going downward by an inclined plane that make an angle theta with plane surface. So we have inclined plane, which are three bodies. The one is disc that is moving downward, the other is hoop, means hoop or thin wall cylinder. This is also called thin wall cylinder, and the third one is sphere. So if we have these three bodies, so which one will come downward first? So that when come downward first, of having greater velocity. So which one have greater velocity, we will find that. So we know that for first of all we are solving for disk. So we know that at the top they have some sort of potential energy. Going downward, this energy is converted into two types of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy linear plus kinetic energy rotational. Kinetic linear energy is that half mv square because it comes downward. Rotational energy is equal to half I omega square because as it comes downward, so it also rotates, and it also rotates in coming downward. So this is another kinetic energy half I omega square. So potential energy is equal to mgh. Furthermore, for disk I is equal to half mr square. So putting it in this equation, we know that mgh is equal to half mv square plus half I is equal to half mr square omega square. So as we know that V is equal to R omega, or V square is equal to R square omega square. So instead of R square omega square, we can write V square. So 1 into 2 by 2 is equal to 1 by 4 mv square. So half mv square. Taking mv square constant, we will get mv square is equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4, or m cancel with mgh. So we will get gh is equal to v square into 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 is equal to 2 plus 1 is equal to 3 by 4, or v is equal to under root 4 by 3 gh, or v at is equal to 4 by 3 under root gh, or 1.4 under root gh. 1.14 1.14 is equal to under root gh. So this is the velocity of disc. The second is the velocity of hoop. For hoop, we know that I is equal to mr square. So the equation becomes mgh is equal to half mv square plus half I is equal to mr square into omega square. R square omega square is equal to v square. So we will get half mv square plus half mv square. So half plus half is equal to 1. So half mv square plus half mv square is equal to mv square. So mgh is equal to m cancel with m. So we will get v is equal to under root gh. So velocity of this case hoop is v is equal to under root gh, or v is equal to 1 multiplied by under root gh. Now the velocity of sphere is, for sphere I is equal to 2 by 5 m r square. So the equation becomes mgh is equal to half mv square plus half, instead of I we will put 2 by 5 mr square omega square. So r square omega square is equal to v square, and 1 by 2 multiplied 2 by 5 is equal to 1 by 5 m. So the equation becomes half mv square plus 1 by 5 mv square. So taking mv square constant, we will get 1 by 2 plus 1 by 5. Taking LCM, it will come 10. So 5 plus 2 is equal to 7 by 10. So mv square into 7 by 10, or mgh is equal to mv square into 7 by 10. M cancel with n. So we will get v is equal to 10 by 7 gh into under root, or under root 10 by 7 is equal to 10 by 7 into under root gh, or 1.19 under root gh. So the velocity of this is v is equal to 1.14 gh. Now the velocity of hoop is, the velocity of this is disc, and for hoop it is equal to gh, and for sphere it is equal to 1.9 under root gh. So we can say that sphere is high velocity than disc, and disc is high velocity than sphere. So sphere will reach down first because it has high velocity, then solid disc or solid will come second, and the third loop will become the last of all of these. So this was the rolling of disc, hoop and sphere. The first will become reach is sphere, the second will be disc, and the third is the hoop. This is for e-time decay and all type of SND tests. And the next topic is artificial satellites. So the next topic is artificial satellites. The first topic is orbital velocity. If satellite is moving around the earth in certain radius, then it must have some sort of some fixed or some variable, some velocity, and this velocity is called orbital satellite. Or to put a satellite into its orbit, the velocity is called, that velocity is called orbital velocity. Now the critical velocity is the minimum orbital velocity to put a satellite into the orbit. So this is the minimum required velocity to put a satellite into the orbit, and it is called critical velocity. To find the critical velocity, we know that A is equal to v square divided by r. In case of gravity, we call g is equal to v square divided by r, and we can say that v square is equal to g multiplied by r, or we can also say that v square is equal to g multiplied by r, or v is equal to under root g into r. For earth, r is the radius of earth, and g is fixed value, that is 9.8 meter per second square. The radius of earth is 6.4 multiplied 10 raised to power 6 meter. So putting this value 9.8 multiply 6.4 multiply 10 raised to power 6 under the root, we will get 7.9 kilometer per second. So 7.9 kilometer per second is the critical velocity to put a satellite into its orbit for Earth. So if this to put a satellite, the minimum critical velocity is 7.9 kilometer per second. So remember always this point. Now this is the velocity to give a satellite. Now the satellite will remove in its orbit with its some fixed velocity, and that velocity is called the orbital velocity. Now to find the velocity, we will say that centripetal force is equal to Newton's law of universal gravitational. So as these are two bodies, so we will apply Newton's law of gravitation. So by Newton's law of gravitation, we know that F is equal to G m1 m2 divided by r square. Here in this case, m1 m2 is, one is me mass of the earth and the second is ms mass of the satellite, and the centripetal force is mvs divided by r ki square. So as m is the mass of the satellite, mv square by r. So this is basis to find the orbital velocity. So mv square by r is equal to g m1 ms divided by r square. So ms cancel with ms. The next is we get is v square is equal to g me divided by r square, and one is this r. Shifting this r to into r, it will cancel with r square, and we will get mv square is equal to g mass of r divided by r, or v is equal to under root g me divided by r, or we can say that one is equal to under root r. So the MCQs for eta is choose correct equation or relation. V is directly proportional to r, V is directly proportional to 1 r, so V is directly proportional to under root r, or V is directly proportional to 1 under root r. So equation option D is correct. R. This can also come in the eta, that choose the correct. So for eta MCQs number, we can say that critical velocity for earth, it is 7.9 kilometer per second, or 7.9 meter per second, or 79 kilometer per second, or 0.79 kilometer per second. So this is 7.9 kilometer per second. R, choose correct. V is directly proportional to r, V is directly proportional to 1 over r, V is directly proportional to r ki square, V is directly proportional to 1 over under root r. So option this is correct. Or this can also come, this choose correct, that V is directly proportional to under root g me, or simply me, V is directly proportional to me, V is directly proportional to 1 over me, or V is directly proportional to under root me. So option A is correct from the velocity. So a satellite is in orbit, moves faster when it is close to the planet. So this is the earth. If satellite is moving its, there are two possible ways for satellites to move around. If this is moving in this allowed, so this is the radius r. In other case, if it is moving in this orbit, so is this r is maximum, so r is maximum, so velocity will be minimum. So farther away from the earth, its velocity is minimum, or near to the earth velocity is maximum. So as near the velocity to the earth, so the velocity of the satellite is maximum. So it can claim that there are two satellites, satellite A and satellite B. MCQs numbers A and B. If A is far from earth and B is near to the earth, so which one has high velocity? So near to the earth is high velocity and far from earth is low velocity. The next topic is geostationary satellites. Geostationary satellite. A geostationary satellite is satellite which takes exactly 24 hours to complete one circle or one round about the earth. So if this is the earth and this is the satellite, as the earth rotates and completes its one rotation in 24 hours, so this satellites also complete one rotation in 24 hours. So it can be seen this, it may look like that the satellite is sessile or at rest, but actually it is moving with the same speed of the earth. So this satellite is called geostationary satellites. Now the next thing is that the orbital velocity of satellite is given by this. Orbital velocity is given by V is equal to Gm divided by R under root, while the velocity of earth is V is equal to S divided by T, where the whole surface in the circle is S is equal to 2 pi R, so V is equal to 2 pi R divided by T. If this both speeds are equals, so we can say that equation 1 is equal to equation 2, or V is equal to V, where V is equal to Gm E divided by R naught, R is equal to 2 pi R divided by T. Now to find the radius of geostationary satellite, taking square on both sides, we can write that Gme divided by R is equal to 4 pi square R square divided by T square. Take square on both sides, so we will get this. And next is R multiplied by R is equal to R cube Gme into T square divided by 4 pi square. So putting the values of G, where G is equal to 6.67 multiplied 10 to the power minus 11, and the value of mass of earth is 6 multiplied 10 to the power 24, and T is time to complete one rotation, that is for we have 365 days in 1 year, and for that we will multiply by 8, 24 hours per day, and multiply by 36 seconds per hour. So and the value of phi is 3.14. So solving all of these, we will get the value of radius, and the value of radius is 4.23 multiplied by 4.23 multiplied 10 to the power 4, or 42300. So 42300 kilometer. So this is the radius if the satellite is from 4.23 multiplied 10 to the power 4 kilometer away from the earth. So it will take exactly 24 hours to rotate about the earth surface. Now the next one is real and apparent weight. So we know that if a body is not moving upward or downward, its mass remains constant. And now there are special cases of, if for example, the easy thing is if we have left at 3 different conditions. So if 1, 2, 3 and the 4th number is special condition. When the lift is at rest and a body stands and a man stands the lift. So we know that there is the mass and this is the tension and this is the weight balance. So as the lift is at rest, the upward force act as tension and the downward force act as weight. So this is weight measuring by balance. So the upward force is act as tension and the downward force is weight. So as at as rest, so T will be equal to W. T is equal to W, or T minus W is equal to 0. If the lift is moving upward, so the upward force is T, it means that T is greater than W, because the downward force is W and the lift is moving upward, it means that T is W. So T is equal to W plus MA. We add MA because T is W greater than W. So if we write it is equal to, so we will add something, so it can become equal to T. So T is equal to W plus FA. If the lift is moving downward, so T will be less than W. So T is equal to W as W is greater. So minusing MA from it, it will be then equal to T. So in this case, T is more from W, so T will be the upper end where T is shows us upper end. T is the tension. If the force, if the T weight is equal to mg, so F is equal to ma, T is equal to force, force is equal to ma, and weight is also the force. So tension shows us the apparent weight. So as in this case T is greater than W, so apparent weight is greater than real weight. As at n rest, so tension is equal to W, so real weight is equal to apparent weight. In this case, as the lift is moving downward, it means that weight is acting downward and tension is moving upward. So as the body is moving downward, so it means that W is greater and T is less. So as W is greater and T is less, T means T is less, it means that apparent weight is less. So as the lift is rest, it will show as original weight. As the lift is moving upward, so the apparent weight will more than real weight. In third case, if it is moving downward, so the apparent weight will be less than real weight. But in special case, if the lift is moving downward freely, so in this is the special case where T will be equal to 0 and we will get the apparent weight equal to 0. So for eta, this topic is so easy. So just remember that what happen at rest, upward, downward, and when the body is falling under force of gravity or free falling body. So if the lift is rest, then T is equal to W, or apparent weight is equal to real weight. In second case, when the lift is moving upward, the T is greater than W. Is it moving upward? It means that T is greater. Is it moving downward? So it means that W is greater. It means that W is greater. And if it means downward with freely, is it downward moving freely? It means that G is equal to 0. No, so we will put W is equal to 0 and we will get that T is equal to 0. So these are the 4 special cases that you must remember in mind. The next is artificial gravity. So we know that the earth is rotating by its own axis. This is the earth and it's rotating in its own axis, and due to this its rotation, the gravity is provided by this rotation. So if we have a satellites we rotate the satellites with certain velocity like Earth to produce the satellite to produce gravity in the satellite, and that is called artificial gravity. Now to that frequency at which the gravity is produced, we will find the equation for that frequency. So we know that omega is equal to 2 pi f. So f is equal to omega divided by 2 phi, or 1 over 2 pi multiplied by omega. Now to put the value of omega, v is equal to a is equal to v square divided by r g is equal to v square divided by r v is equal to r square omega square divided by r, where v is equal to r omega. So r cancel with square, so we will get r omega square is equal to g, where g by r is equal to omega square. R omega is equal to g by r under root. So we can also write that 1 by 2 pi under root g by r. So this is the equation for frequency. So a spaceship rotates with the particular frequency f, and artificially gravity like the earth is provided to the spaceship. So this was the end of our fifth chapter. So we have learned. I will write all the formulas of this chapter one by one. We know that chapter number 5, 2 pi radian is equal to 360 degree. The second was 1 radius is equal to 57.3 degree approximately. The next was theta is equal to s divided by r. Fourth was angular velocity is equal to delta t by delta t. The fifth was angular acceleration is equal to angular velocity divided by t. The fifth was the relation between linear and angular. So we know that v is equal to r into omega r. S is equal to r into theta, r a is equal to r into alpha, r l is equal to r into phi, r. The next was centripetal and centrifugal force. It was simply mv square divided by r. It is fc is equal to minus mv square divided by r, or fc is equal to mv square by r square into r, or putting v is equal to r omega, we will get m omega square into r. And for bending of rod, the next topic was bending of rod, where fy is equal to f sin theta was equal to fc, or fy is equal to or f sin theta is equal to mv square by r. And the equation of bending of rod was tangent theta is equal to v square by gr. The next was torque is equal to ia or mr square alpha. And next was the values of y per ring, that was I is equal to mr square, and that for solid sphere, it was half mr square. And next was the velocity of sphere, I for disk. So for disk we put I is equal to m simply by r1 square plus r2 square. A third was solid sphere, that I is equal to 2 by 5 mr square. And for rectangle we said that it is equal to half into 12 m into a square plus b square. And for rod it was 1 by 12 m l square. Furthermore, we said that L is equal to I omega, or L by T, I omega by T is equal to 0. And we said that as torque is equal to Rf, we can get R is equal to MA, we can R M R alpha or M R square alpha or I omega. So simply it was delta L by delta T is equal to torque. Next was for rotation of velocity of sphere is greater than the velocity of disk is greater than the velocity of loop. So loop not, it was hoop. So further we told that for artificial velocity v is equal to under root gh, this is the critical velocity 7.9 km per second. R the VO, that is the orbital velocity, that is v is equal to under root g mass of the earth divided by radius. We also derive the equation for geostationary satellite, that r ki cube, that is for geostationary satellite, and this is equal to GME t square divided by 4 pi square, and this was 4.23 multiplied 10 raised to 4 kilometer. Further on, we derived the artificial gravity frequency. Artificial gravity frequency, that was F is equal to 1 over 2 pi, where G is equal to G divided by R. A third was for the lift, if it is rest, then the real weight is equal to apparent weight. The second was if it is moving upward, so apparent weight will be greater than real weight. Third was if lift is moving downward, so then A will be less than real. And fourth was special case, if it is down freely, then weight will be equal to apparent weight will be equal to 0. So this was the whole chapter of chapter 5, circular and rotational motion.